Let's kick it off. So we only got 15 minutes, so let's scoot through. So the top five suburbs to watch in 2025. The disclaimer, so don't grab any of this information, rush out and purchase a property. It's general in nature. It doesn't constitute legal financial advice. There's our credit rep numbers and our real estate agent license number. It's our team, our beautiful team. Isa, Sally, Win, Ron. Of course, you know who I am. I put my picture up every available opportunity. So I just want to break down who's bringing you the session today. So 80 Metrics Property Investment Negotiation Solutions. So they're our buyers advocacy arm. You'll see in this presentation about some of the metrics we use when giving advice where and what to buy. What other services that 80 Metrics offer: portfolio review. So you might have a number of investment properties and you're unsure how they're performing compared to the market, if they're still the right fit for where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. We also do that. And vendor advocacy. So we try and that is, if you're not aware, that's interviewing real estate agents, managing the process to ensure you get the right person for the job, keep them on track, negotiate their fees, etc. So that's the 80 metric side of things. Key Choice Lending, Isa heads up Key Choice Lending, won Boutique Broker of the Year last year, in the finalists again this year, and handle all your commercial, residential, self-managed super fund, pretty much all your lending needs. So let's get into it. So good intentions are not enough. We do not want, that is actually a pig dog. I didn't know there was such a thing down the bottom there, but we don't want you getting into property investments that aren't suitable for you. So we, in the 80 metric side of things, obviously there's 80 plus metrics that we use, but because of the limited time we've got, we're going to focus on 10. And they're broken down into the four main areas that we look at. So the essential metrics: how much can you buy for? In these examples, we've used up to 800,000, a yield of 3.5%, a 10-year price growth estimate of 70%. So what you may say is, well, how do you get those predictive figures? Historically, people have used the median price growth over a period of time. We don't use that. We look at a number of metrics in and project for 2 years ahead. So that it's a little bit more accurate because we're looking at supply demand ratios, building approvals, what's happening in the area. There's a whole lot of work that goes into that prediction for the 2 years, and we extrapolate it out over the 10. So it's not as simple as just grabbing that the growth figure. We're trying to make it more accurate. Of course, no one knows what's going to happen in the future. You can't take this figure to the bank, but we've had some good success over the time with our predictions. Everyone wants a unicorn. They want, can you please find us a high growing property that's going to increase in value and have magnificent yields? Well, the problem with that is they pull against each other. So you've got something that might grow, if we use the example of, it's a 500,000 property and it's a 5% yield. So that's great. But once it jumps up to $1 million in value, let's say you have massive growth over a short period of time, well, then the yield that you're getting, the rental return that you're going to receive on $1 million property in that area is not going to match the growth, the capital growth. So the yield that you'll get will decrease over time. So they're pulling against each other. So it's really important that you get personalized advice for your circumstances. What do you need? Do you need capital growth? Is it purely a yield, a cash flow property? Do you need a blend of the both, and how much of each? Because you're not going to get that unicorn that gives you both. Some of the fundamentals we use, how we're going for time, if we go to ERSAD. So that's essentially the socio-economic metrics that we use. It's number one is a poor economic area where people are using the majority of their income, let's say 50 or 60% for paying their rent, and a 10 is somewhere where the disposable income is significant, and they might use 5 or 10% of their income to cover the rent. So you want a number higher to the 10. We chose areas that with a population over 5,000 people. Renter to owner occupied ratio, 40% is the very outside we'd go to. You want a good mix of owner occupied to renter, and a 40% rental population is at the high end. At a very minimum, you want 50-50 house to units. So again, this comes back to your personalised advice. What we're working on here is purely house prices with a minimum of 3-bed, 1-bath. So that price figure that we've got there is, you can understand, it's not factoring in units. Any of the metrics we're using is not for units. We have got those, but we had to narrow the parameters and bring it down to, so we're price point is 800,000, and it's a 3-bed, 1-bath at a minimum. So vacancy rate less than 2%. We're lucky at the moment with vacancy rates across the country fairly low, and demand metric is 50%, 50 days on market or less. So these are general figures, but what we're looking for when we give personalised advice is a trend. So a downward trend on days on market, downward trend on vacancy rates, and a restricted supply. So building a building approval ratio there in the supply side, less than 3. So that's 3 new houses per 100 being built. We want it less than that, and less than 2% of the stock on the market. So let's get going. We're going to have to smash through these. You're going to find I picked one area from Western Australia, South Australia, Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland. Sorry about Tassie and Northern Territory. Apologies, Canberra, ACT, whoops. Anyway, the countdown, there's Molly, and if you're old like me, you can remember countdown. So here we go, Butler, Western Australia. So the one we've chosen from Western Australia is Butler. Price point, it's northern suburbs, sort of end of the train line, so where the growth is really starting to blossom. Average house price 762, yields okay at 3.86, and we're predicting a growth of about 72%. So how did we get there? And at the end of this presentation, you'll see that it's not so much about buying something in an area that you may know well. There's a lot of indicators. So the suburb next door you might know, but it may be blown out of the water by our metrics and what potentially will happen in those areas. So it's got a good URSAD, so there's disposable income there for use on rent of 15,000 population. 31% of properties are rented, and there's only 3% of the properties in the area that are units, so that's great. Vacancy rate 1.43, days on market 31 and coming down. The inventory at 0.75% is good, so not a lot of the stock in the area on market, and the building approval, although higher than some of the other areas we'll see at 0.31%, means that even though it's at the end of the train line WA North, there's not green fields of new estates opening that are going to smash the value of your property by additional supply. Next, number 4. Going terrible image joke. New South Wales hasn't been travelling well for a few years. It's hard to get something that's affordable with a good yield, but this area, 661,000 is the average price point. The yield's good at 4.36. A 10-year growth we're estimating at 82%. URSAD okay at 3. population just over 5,000. Again, there's nothing jumping out at me in New South Wales, but this is to give you an indication of what's available. Renter to owner occupy ratio at 30%, great. Houses to units, 95%. Days on market is 27, so low days on market, and that's coming down, so that'll drive property values. Vacancy rate at 1.5%, so you're going to get tenants. Building approval ratio, it's 0.64% of a home for every 100 homes, so that's a really good sign. And inventory on the market at 1.23% of the market in that area. So again, good yield. We expect good growth over the next 10 years, and you're going to get tenants. So number 3, Bette Midler, I think, and Brian Lara, terrible joke again. Lara in Victoria, really good signs for this, but it's not going to be for a couple of years. Price point 642. It's between it's on the way to Geelong, between Melbourne and Geelong. 642, great area. Yield's good at over 4%. 81% growth over the next 10 years. Earth had 6, so there's a lot of disposable income there. Population 19,000. Really good renter to owner occupy ratio, only 22% of properties rented. Houses to units, 78% of houses, 22% units. This is, and we'll get into some more figures shortly, but vacancy rate 1.43, good. Days on market high, relatively high, so still balanced at 46, but yeah, that will drop in the coming years. Build the inventory, low stock on market at 0.63%, and building approval ratios, there's a bit of development going on in the area, but anything under 3 years good. Tina Turner and Molly. Number 2, Waterford, Queensland. Queensland's gone gangbusters. Really hard to find good value property. So there's Brisbane City. There's where Waterford is. Average price 744. Yields not as good, 3.95. How am I going? I'm late. 120% growth over the next 10 years. Brisbane, yeah, with the Olympics, etc., it's going gangbusters. Ursat at the moment, 3 is just acceptable. Population's okay. There is a higher level of renter to owner occupier, but huge level of housing. Again, under 1% vacancy rate. The days on market's come down on 33 days, so trajectory is down. Again, builder approval ratio and inventory ticks and boxes. So I suppose you want to know what's number 1. Corley and Molly. Who would have thunk? Gawler, South Australia. I had to put up that image because that was on... I found it astounding that was the image that was up on Wikipedia for Gawler. So it is a beautiful place. Gateway to the Barossa. Price point 762. Yields okay, but the growth there is going to, from our metrics, is going to be exceptional. Ursat 5, good disposable income. All the other metrics are good. Renter, owner, occupier, perfect, 18%. 95.5 houses. Vacancy rate, 0.99. 48 days on market, so that's high and going to come down. So we're almost done, but I'll explain to you what that means. Builder approval ratio and inventory there, so they tick the boxes. So there I am in my workout gear. So what we've got here is the different areas. What's going to happen in a month? Not much. 1 quarter of a year, not much. 1 year, that's where we think the growth will be. 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. So what's important to get personalised advice is you might be looking to exit an area in 2 years. So buy, flip, take the profit and do something else. Or it might be a long-term hold. So you can see that properties appreciate at different times, different values. Lara, we expect in Victoria to be relatively flat for the first year. Some growth in year 3 and year 5. It's really going to spike up, and then so you want to get the timing right of where you may buy. So if it was more immediate, if we were just comparing these areas, you might go Butler first to get that growth, and then exit in sort of 5 years when you get the growth. Again, cannot predict the future. We're just our beliefs based on the metrics that we have. Thank you. If you've got any questions, please reach out. I hope I've made it more confusing. I just wanted to give you an indication of what some of the essential metrics were. It's generalized advice. Please reach out if you've got any questions. We've got a book a meeting link there. If you want to book in 15 minutes, just have a chat. Ask us any questions. Happy to help with your existing stuff, or if you're buying something new. And any questions for me before we... Okay, thanks. Oz has told me to do something which I haven't done, so I'll get in trouble for that. Really appreciate your attendance, everyone. And if there's any questions, you can ask now. If not, we'll speak to you soon. Nothing. Thank you, Prue. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate you can tell me what you really think later, but I appreciate you pumping up my tires and tolerating my 80s sensibilities with Molly Meldrum. Yeah. All right, thanks, people. We'll speak soon.